Greta is a new film directed by Neil Jordan, and this film stars Chloe Grace-Moretz, I believe I got her name wrong this whole entire time. Please forgive me, I'm not really good with names. Also, this film stars Maika Monroe from another movie I praised her performance in, It Follows. She was one of her earlier roles, but that was a movie I remember her for. If you want to see more work from Maika Monroe, I recommend you checking out a film called It Follows. A really good film, underrated, under the radar, but a really good film. And last of least, Isabelle Herbert. She plays Greta in this film. Greta revolves around this girl named Frances who discovers a green purse that's left on a train, and she returns the purse back to the owner, Greta. She becomes friends with Greta, but then Greta starts showing obsessive behavior, and now Frances is in danger, and now she must find help or run for her safety because there is a psychotic chick after her now. So I went to this pre-screening not knowing anything. I didn't know what to expect. I decided to watch the trailer. I watched the trailer and it was actually enthralling. I was, emotionally invested with the trailer, so I was like, hell yeah. This film had similarities to another film I reviewed 2 years ago, and that was Happy Death Day. And what does this film have to do with Happy Death Day? I will go in depth later on in the video. Stay tuned for that. Hands down, I think the #1 mind-blowing performance in this whole entire movie has to be Isabelle Herbert. Hubbard. I think I said her name right. God damn it. Hopefully I said her name right. Isabelle Herbert plays Greta in this film, and I can't really go in further depths with Greta's character, because if I go in further depths with her character, that will go into spoiler territory. But what I can talk about is her performance, and the way she performed her character was really creepy. It was really just skin crawling. Her performance was really out there. I was a little terrified. I was a little creeped out myself. And another thing that added a layer to the emotional, scary scenes, suspenseful scenes revolving around the Greta character, there was some really good sound design, great bone-chilling music that is on cue with her character every time she's on screen. So when Greta is doing her, "Hello, honey, me too, how you doing?" and it just made the atmosphere just so much creepy, and you can feel the weight of her gaze on screen. It rubbed me the wrong way, and I felt, and she was the highlight in this whole entire movie. The other performances from this main co-star, Chloe Grace, she did a really good job with her performance as well. Not on par with Isabelle Herbert. Chloe Grace delivered in the scene that she was in that was, intense and stuff like that. I was into it a little bit, just on a certain extent. I will get to why it's on a certain extent level. I'll get to that in a second. Her best friend, Maika Monroe, she plays the best friend of the main character. Her name is Erica. Maika Monroe's character gave the main character its source of humanity. The story could have been layered in so many ways, and also the performances is what saved this movie from total annihilation. But outside of the performances, there is so many problems I have with this film. Before I go into that, I'm going to explain the most important thing when you're creating a house, right? When you're creating a house, you need blueprints, but you need to create a foundation. But when your foundation is not correctly built, what happens? Everything collapses in on itself. I said the same thing in my review of Happy Death Day because of its plot. Yes, the plot is interesting. The plot of Greta was really interesting. The plot of Happy Death Day was really interesting. But it's just the execution of that plot revolving around the ambiguity of life repeating itself. The logic. Okay? Now with this film of a woman kidnapping a woman in 2019, right? Because we have technology. Technology is dominant. So you need to have logic. In this whole entire film itself, its main flaw was this film was an inconsistency. There was so many inconsistencies whatsoever that did not make sense. Throughout this film, the crazy psychotic chick who's being played by Isabelle Herbert, Greta, is doing these things, antagonizing the main character that is clearly, things where a person can easily file a restraining order. But yet these characters constantly make dumb decisions, and I'm like, why? And it's like the script is forcing these characters to make a dumb decision to prolong the movie, because if the characters make the logical decision, we won't have a movie. Of the logical inconsistencies, this film has some good performances. There were some interesting concepts they was going to introduce in this film that they kind of hinted towards, but the film does a poor job of executing that. They never bring up these concepts ever again. These concepts had like potential ways to progress the main character Greta, or even develop her character even more, but the film fails to do so. This film is called Greta. You know, there's supposed to be character development revolving around Greta. Maybe I can sympathize with the character a little bit, you know, empathize with the character, you know, feel something, but yet the film does a poor job of utilizing some certain plot details revolving around her character, so I don't really feel anything with the character, and I don't really feel anything with the main star of the character either, because this film did a poor job of developing their character. So therefore, this film has poor character development and poor writing revolving around the inconsistencies. They should have just made it full circle, but they did a poor job. So this film is not a good film in my eyes. I'm going to have to give Greta a Val Kilmer Batman. This is a guilty pleasure, a movie I just really just you know, forget it exists. If you want to watch this movie because of Chloe Grace, go right ahead. And the only reason why this movie was as good as it is because she's hot. That's it. Guys, that's my review of Greta. Have you seen Greta? What are your thoughts? Comment below and let's talk about it. And I'll see you guys in the next review. I'll have more Batman-tastic reviews in the way. You have been warned. Till then, ciao.